I need to get something off my chest. That might hurt a few feelings, but if it does, you probably need to hear it. Because if I hear one more person say, maybe he's just confused, I might actually lose my mind. He's not confused. He knew how to text at 2 a.m. He knew when to show up when it benefited him. Confused men don't know how to text at 2 a.m. Confused men don't pop back in when they're bored or lonely. He didn't know how to show up when it required effort, consistency, or emotional maturity. He knew exactly what he was doing. He just didn't care enough to do better. And if you're listening to this thinking, yeah, but my situation is different, I thought that too. And I stayed. I stayed in something way longer than I should have, not because I didn't see the red flags, but because I convinced myself that they weren't that bad. This podcast isn't about hating exes. It's about being honest about the mess, laughing at ourselves, laughing about the chaos, owning the bad decisions, and then loving ourselves enough to grow and heal without pretending we were grateful about it, because most of us weren't. So welcome to Unhinged but Healing, because healing isn't always graceful. Let's get into it. This is Unhinged but Healing, where we talk ex-drama, red flags, bad decisions, and the lessons we only learned after ignoring every sign we were given. This is a judgment-free space for people who have loved too hard, stayed too long, ignored their gut, replied when they shouldn't have, and romanticised bare minimum behaviour like it was a personality trait because we wanted it to work. I'm not here to tell you to just love yourself and magically everything gets better. I'm here to tell the truth, even when it's uncomfortable, unpack your shit, and then help you do better next time. No judgment. We've all done it. I want to talk about relationships that teach us some of the hardest lessons of our lives. You can't convince someone to love you properly. This wasn't some dramatic, explosive relationship, and that's the scary part. It was quiet, inconsistent, and confusing. I was asking for really simple things: clarity, effort, reassurance, and every time I asked, I was made to feel like I was asking for too much. I started shrinking. I started overthinking everything. I stopped bringing things up because I didn't want to be needy or that girl. I accepted less because I didn't want to lose him. I accepted half answers and I waited. The worst part, I defended him to everyone. Oh, he's just busy. He's bad at communication. He does care. He just doesn't show it. Looking back, that was me doing emotional gymnastics to avoid the truth, which was that I wasn't being chosen the way I deserved to be. There's a specific moment that I can remember. I'd asked for consistency, nothing dramatic, just to know where I stood, where I finally said what I needed clearly and calmly, and the response I got wasn't reassurance, it was distance, and instead of stepping up, he pulled away. And that's when it clicked. Someone who wants you won't make you feel like a burden for needing reassurance. And here's the hard truth. I wasn't scared of losing him. I was scared of being alone and having to admit I'd wasted my time. And that was my answer. Because somebody who wants you doesn't make you feel like your needs are an inconvenience. Right, let's be honest about those red flags, because I know I'm not the only one who ignores them. So, red flag 1, inconsistent communication masked as being busy. Nobody is that busy. Red flag 2, effort only when it suited him. Red flag 3, avoiding conversations about the future or anything in general that gets deep. Red flag 4, it's making me feel dramatic for having feelings and wanting reassurance. And we excused it all. Oh, he's just busy. He's had a hard past. He shows love differently. No, he showed love exactly how he felt it, inconsistently. And love that keeps you anxious isn't love. It's attachment. You keep thinking, oh, if I'm patient enough, if I'm understanding enough, if I'm low maintenance enough, they'll step up. And here's the brutal part. We've ignored all that because we wanted the potential more than the reality. But love doesn't require you to disappear to be acceptable. So here's where I had to be honest with myself, and this part stings. I stayed because I had hoped the potential would turn into effort. I stayed because walking away felt like failure. But staying somewhere you're not valued is not loyalty, it's self-abandonment. And the biggest lesson I've learned: you don't need to beg someone to meet your needs. You need someone whose needs already align with yours. I had to take responsibility for staying when my intuition was screaming at me. not to blame myself, but to understand myself. I realised I wasn't afraid of being alone. I was afraid of admitting that I'd invested time in the wrong person. I learned that you don't need to explain your needs to the right person. You don't need to convince them. And the moment I stopped asking, why am I not enough for them, and started asking, why am I accepting this, everything changed. If this sounds like your situation right now, or if you're listening to this and thinking, oh, this feels a little too familiar, this is for you. I'm not judging you. I am not saying that you're weak. I'm saying you deserve better than someone who keeps you guessing. You are not asking for too much. You are not needy. You are not dramatic. You are asking the wrong person. Somebody who genuinely wants you, won't leave you confused, anxious, or second guessing yourself. And if you're having to convince someone to choose you, they already haven't. And I know leaving is hard. I know loving someone doesn't switch off overnight. But I know this. You don't heal by staying where you keep getting hurt. This podcast is going to be honest, funny, uncomfortable at times, chaotic, and very real. If you've got an ex story, a red flag you've ignored, or a situation that made you question your own sanity, I want to hear it. Everything is anonymous, no names, no judgment, just honesty and growth. Because healing isn't always graceful, but it is always worth it. This was Unhinged but Healing. I've got you. See you next time.